Welcome back, everybody. We're back. We're at it again. Season 3. Who would have thought? Who would have thought in a million years that we would have been able to pull off a season 3? But here we are, Jeff. We're ready to rock and roll again. It's been a while, man. How you doing? Oh, I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Oh, it's because I was on mute.
Welcome into the Chasing Trails podcast, brought to you by St. John Trail Running and powered by Resilience Through Fitness. Join two middle-aged dads as they sit down and talk trail running, life, and everything in between. Now, here are your hosts, Jeff LeBlanc and Brandon Thompson. Welcome in, everybody, to Season 3 of Chasing Trails. We are back. We're so back. And who would have thought in a million years, not me, that we would have been able to make it to Season 3. But here we are, kicking it off. Jeff, it's been a long winter. I'm so glad to be back on the mic with you. How you making out, man?
I'm good. It was a long hibernation. We're back. We're doing video, trying to do some new things. For two guys who didn't think they were going to make 10 episodes,
right?
We are with like 60 or more. So, yeah.
Yeah, crazy. Man. You know what? There's 3 qualifications for monetizing your podcasts, and one is you have to produce 12 episodes, and then they get increasingly harder after that. You have to have like 10,000 hours consumed in a single episode. So we've got one. We got 1 out of 3. Like we're on our way. We're on our way, man. Like there's even like a little meter. We're like this far the meter filled, so we're doing great.
Well, hey, that means if we're not monetizing it yet, we can do cool music and transitions, and YouTube won't get mad at us. So
that's right.
It's all good.
We can say whatever we want. Like no one's gonna pull our funding. Like it's gonna be all right.
Yeah, that's right. We only have 2 sponsors, and they seem to have put up with us so far. So
that's right. We've said some pretty outrageous things, from insulting people who wear blunt stones, to all the others kind of things that we say. But it's been a while, and so if you're tracking with us for Season 3, thanks so much for staying with us for the long haul. You're starting to see us grow and change a little bit, and so hopefully this whole new phase with the video part of it, that's going to take us some time. We're a little rusty, in fact, from not recording for a while because it's taking us a bit of time.
Tonight, and,
that's right. This is actually take 2 of the intro. But we've got some great guests lined up for this season.
Yes, sir.
From all sorts of different running veins, and I think even we've got some nutritionists, we've got some people who've been running for a long time, people who've not been running for a long time, but we hope that you'll enjoy every guest that we have. We've even had some guests that just didn't show up, and we won't name names, but we had a great guest lined up for the start, but they decided not to do it. But we got an even better guest to replace it for for this week. So it's been a kind of a wild ride, just even getting everything organized. So
it has been.
Anyway,
you've been doing most of that work. I haven't done any of it. So.
Yeah, I'm not going to be polite and share some of the glory. I have, in fact, done most of the work.
All of it.
The
only thing I did was hang these 2 banners behind my head here.
That's right.
That was my effort at this.
That's right. And big shout out to Devin and Resilience Through Fitness. We have just been he's been a big part of my off season, and so we'll get into that in a little bit. But he's also one of the title sponsors of the podcast, and so we couldn't do what we do without him. And so we're really appreciative of all that he's doing. And we'll get him on the podcast, and he can talk about some of the stuff that he's doing across Canada. It's wild. Like like Resilience Through Fitness is getting all sorts of love across Canada. So it's been.
Well, it's going to be great. He's going to come down for Romp and Rockwood 50. So we'll get him on the following week after he's experienced it, so that he can talk about what he went through and his experience with St. John Trail Running, our other title sponsor. And then he'll have a glimpse at that in the community, and then he can talk about what he's doing, and it'll be a good show.
For sure. We should get him to wait, because odds are he's going to be ahead of at least me anyway. We get him to wait at the top of that goat path, like at the top of that mountain, and we'll just do like a little live podcast from the top of that little hill there while we're like practically dying. But we would probably have to do that in the second because we don't have any seconds to waste for the first cutoff. Like we're gonna we'll have to be booting it through.
That's true, and he's gonna be ahead of both of us. Let's be honest.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
he is
for sure.
He's gonna be way ahead of us. But anyway, that's fantastic. So Jeff, maybe you could just catch us up on how your off season's been going, man. Like, tell us about life. It's been a bit.
Off season, it has been a bit, hasn't it? I feel like in the wintertime you hibernate, and then I fall into this like slight depression when I'm not talking to you once a week, and then talking about all of our issues and our fun stuff, because then it's just me dealing with my my inner thoughts.
That's right.
So it was an interesting winter. We haven't chatted since Bootstrap, basically. So. I'm a bit of a broken record. If you go back a year ago, you'll hear me talking about how I had this groin problem. And so sure enough, by the end of last year's way more running than I probably should have done, I was pretty hurt again. Not hurt, but had this problem with my hip and my groin. And so, I basically didn't run from Bootstrap Boogie till the new year. But then I picked it right back up. And
wow.
So that's been good. Yeah, I think my total through October, November, and December was 10 miles, 6 miles, and 4 miles. Like that's it for those 3 months. And then we jumped back in with January, and we had 55 miles in there. Now the good news is my hip and my groin have been great, so I haven't had any issues there. But I developed a new issue, and so. I've been struggling. The only fun thing or cool thing I did this winter is I went to San Diego, and while there, I went with a friend from work, and he's quite fit, and so he was funny. He planned the whole trip. Like I don't travel. I've never been past Toronto. He's really the only reason I went on this trip. I was going to politely decline and not go, and. But he was like, no, let's go, and I'll plan lots of activities for us. It'll be a fun time. And so I didn't realize that he was like a complete go type guy. Like everything was very scheduled. We had everything planned out before we went, which was awesome because I would have done nothing. And so I got to see a ton of San Diego. We went to a bunch of different places. We went to a cool spot to watch the Super Bowl. And so we had a great week. But every morning he was like, he knew that I was a bit of a runner, that I like to lift weights and so on. So, and again, he's very fit. So every morning he was always like, you can come with me if I want, but I'm going to start my day, every day with, a 5K and then lift some weights. And I'll probably spend the first, couple hours of my day working out. I couldn't really keep up with him for the whole 2 hours. So we'd go for a run, and I'd stick with him with the run. And then, I'd lift some weights, and then I'd go sit in the hot tub until he finished, and we'd go for breakfast, which was a great deal for me. So it was good. Good run. Yep. But while I was there, I developed this issue with my Achilles tendon. I don't know what I did, how I did it, but it's really sore. And so I hadn't run much. I ran all of January on a treadmill, and then we went to San Diego. And I think the run where I probably heard it, we went to Balboa Park, and it was uphill for 7 kilometers. And we ran to Balboa Park, ran around the park a little bit, and then ran back. And so, it was a good, real good run. We took a shortcut on the way home, so it ended up being a 12 or 13 kilometer run that day. The next day, I had a hard time walking because my Achilles was so sore. And I don't know what caused it. I was wearing old shoes because I had this thought that we were going to get a pair of shoes at the conference. And so I was going to leave my old shoes there because I didn't have anything but carry on. And anyway, so there was this whole plan, but I was running in these really old shoes and obviously hurt myself doing that. And then proceeded to continue to run this whole time up until last weekend in these new Hokas that I got. And I just kept having this pain, but only after I ran. It never hurt during the run. Didn't hurt much when I was running on a treadmill, only when I ran outside. So I ran on a treadmill the whole, for a couple weeks. We went for a run with Ann and Adam, and that was great. I got home the next day. My ankle and my Achilles were killing me. So anyway, I finally figured out that I went from running in a 10 millimeter drop shoe to running in a 5 millimeter drop shoe immediately. And the old shoes I was running in, if you can guess, were my very first shoes that I ever got for trail running, which were my Sauconys, which are a 4 millimeter drop. So I went from a 10 millimeter drop to a 4mm drop in San Diego on old shoes with no padding left, ran every day for 5 days, and then came home and proceeded to run on, low drop shoes as well. Right. Obviously, my mechanics weren't accustomed to this. So, Adam and Ann kind of took us under their wing a little bit, have been giving us a little bit of, Adam especially giving us some insight and some tips. And so, he's been kind of coaching me through some thought process in this. And so, he basically told me that probably is my problem. I should maybe leave the Hokas alone for a bit. So I'm back to running in my Solomons, and lo and behold, the pain has gotten a lot better over the last week. So that's good news. And so I've got a lot of running in this month. I'm up over 100 miles, and so we're training for Romp and Rockwood, and trying to get after that. And so if I could just get this pain to go away, then I'd be a lot better off. So unfortunately, the winter, you said we grew a lot, but I think I grew in the wrong direction.
Oh my goodness. So, I definitely did. I definitely did.
December was an amazing month, but it was not good for trail running.
A few too many Skunkle Mikes, I think, probably.
Yeah, or something else, but for sure. So we're kind of regretting some of the decisions that I made through my hibernation, but overall, we're getting back under the swing of things, so that's good.
Fantastic. I think for me, I've been trying to jump back in, and training has been going pretty well. I've been pretty consistent. Devin, as I mentioned, has been really helpful with a lot of the gym stuff. So I've been doing a lot more weight training, and now I'm starting to shift a little bit more to running with a few supplemental gym workouts to kind of keep the injury bugs away. But I'm running, and Jeff, and I'm just like, holy frig, I'm slow. I can't get going. Like, what is wrong with me?
We were never fast, Brandon, so.
I know, but now it's even like, that's a new level of slow. Like, enough that I'm noticing. And I'm like, that's slow. Now, if I can notice that this is like, so I used to be able to run a 10K in about an hour and 5. So now I'm running a 10K in like an hour and a half, like an hour and 40 minutes. And I'm like, what is going on? And so I'm just like hating myself while I'm running lately. And I'm just like, all that negative talk is just like my mantra. You know how people have like, you're amazing. I'm like, you fat slob, stop eating candy. It's like, stop doing it. You're so fat. I just like the opposite. I'm just like, all right, move it, Tumbleard. Like, you just got to get going. And so then I was like, okay, it's been months since I've done any serious running. And so I've been giving myself a little bit more grace. Because really the summer was a write-off for me. And so it was just really getting back into it in the wintertime. And like you, I've been mostly on the treadmill because I'm just like, I am avoiding injury like the plague. Like, I'm trying to, like, I'm not putting myself in a spot where I'm going to hurt myself again. Right. At least until we start racing, you know?
Well, this is a thing. Like, I feel like if I have currently like a weak Achilles or whatever this issue is, and like I said, it doesn't hurt while I run, so that's good news as far as I'm concerned. The way I look at things is if it doesn't hurt while you're running, and it only hurts for a day, maybe a day and a half, from what I understand from reading online and from talking to other people, it's probably not a serious injury. It's more of a pain in the ass and something you just have to work through and, see a physio or see a massage therapist. And my massage therapist she's registered in sports massage therapy or whatever. So she's really great to talk to. And she's done some cupping and some great work that makes it feel a lot better. I would see her every week if I could afford it, but I can't. So it's once a month right now, and it is what it is. But yeah, so I'm just, working through it. But that's why I haven't done a lot of running in the snow and ice, because if it's already weak, like, it will not take much probably for me to then develop it into an injury. So the best advice I got again from Adam, when we were running with him and Ann, he asked me if I ever run with incline, and I thought I was giving the right answer when I was like, oh yeah, I put it like at half a percent or whatever. And he just kind of like almost stopped running and looked at me and was like, that's nothing. Get that up there. So now, I've been running at a 3 or a 5% incline, trying to make Adam proud. So
there you go.
But it's funny how much harder hills are when the ground underneath you isn't moving, right? Like,
yeah, I know, right?
I thought, I've been running at a 5 incline, and this hill's going to be no problem. And then I get outside running my first outside, long outside run, and I get to like a reasonably small hill, and I'm like, sucking wind, and all of a sudden my watch starts beeping because I'm, hitting, 195.
That's right.
Yeah. They're like, hey, buddy, you're going to die.
That's right. Heart attack imminent. Heart attack imminent.
The other day I was running, and my watch at the end was like, oh, we're going to adjust your max heart rate upwards because you didn't die when you hit 200 beats per minute.
Whoa, no kidding.
Take that as your new max. And I was like, I don't know if that's a good thing, but
wow, that's impressive. I'm just like living for the moment when my VO2 max age goes up. Like, I'm just like, if I could just get it above, like, I don't know what I am. I'm like, I'm in the 50s. Like, I'm a 50-year-old compared to like my VO2 or whatever. That number.
Oh, your fitness age, your Garmin fitness age.
Yeah. My fitness age. That's right. Yeah. And I'm just like, oh, this is so brutal. So I'm already in the senior citizens like age group. I'm like at the master's level of fitness. So it's been a journey. I think I'm getting there, but like 8 weeks does not seem like enough time to get ready for boots or
maybe you should adjust your birth date on your race roster, so when you register for races, you'll get into that series.
I should
about the race series. You'll be like, use your watch age.
I got enough gray hair, man. I could pull it off if we had to. Like, I'd be like, listen, I'm a young 52. That's what I would say. I'm just a young 52.
That's right.
I would kill in that age group, Like,
no, you'd still lose.
You're right. There's some pretty fast. Yeah. There's some pretty fast.
You're running against Mark Campbell. I think he's in his 50s, and he did over 100K at Looney Loops last year. So
yeah. So maybe I could come in third.
Future guest on the show.
Yeah, that's right. Coming right up, actually. Yeah. So tonight, what do we got going on for the podcast? We have a special guest, a good friend of the show, really one of our greatest inspirations to get into this whole trail running thing. I remember just sending Mark McColgan a text just saying, hey, listen, what is this trail running thing like? I can run this fast. Can I come? And he was like, yeah, we'd love to have you in there. And I just remember him being so great the first time. Like, and that's many people's experience when they've gone trail running for the first time with them. So
yeah, and a big credit to probably this show lasting longer than
yes,
minutes, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, jumping in as a title sponsor from basically day one to help us get listeners and encourage us, and when we were thinking maybe we'd throw in the towel, and he was like, no, you guys are doing great, keep going, it'll get better.
Yeah.
You'll learn how to use your microphone eventually, right?
That's right.
He's been good for us 100%. Yeah,
that's right. We'll learn how to pronounce his name. And I think I got it this year. I think I got it. So it's only taken me 3 seasons, but I think I got it. So
you're better than me. I don't even bother. I just say Mark. And
yeah, you just say Mark. Yeah, you always bail out. You just say like, oh yeah, Mark from SJTR Trail. Man, I'm leave French. It to me to do all the heavy lifting.
I can't speak.
Yeah, that's right.
It's hard for me. I've been like that my whole life.
Oh man. So we've got a great interview with him, and because there are a lot of new things happening in our local area, and I don't know where you're listening to this podcast, but in our little spot in New Brunswick in Atlantic, Canada, we have a group called St. John Trail Running, and it's our trail running group. And Jeff and I, even though Jeff lives in Fredericton, he's like a member by proxy, and we do most of our racing through them. But we also get a chance to get a lot of the insider information from Mark because they're so involved with the podcast. And so it's really exciting to be able to have him come on to kick our season off and talk about some of the new things that are happening with SJTR. And we hope that even if you don't live in the region or don't live in the area, that you'll be inspired maybe to come check us out. And we'd love to have you come to one of the races. Come hang out with us at Romp and Rockwood, and maybe you'll you might catch us finish our 50Ks. And that'll be a special moment. I can't wait to see what we're going to look like crossing the finish line. Like if there's a camera like catching us, it'll be a near-death experience. Like that's what it'll be like. It'll be like these are the moments before he died. Like that'll be what it is.
Now I feel like my first year doing the first loop, your wife was very concerned for my health.
Rightly so. You were not in your right head by the time.
The second year, I didn't make the cutoff, and I don't feel like I was in nearly as bad shape. But I didn't make the cutoff. No, you weren't. So I didn't do a second loop. But I feel like my second loop will look like my first loop.
That's right.
So, yeah, it's good that the St. John ambulance is there. At the end of that race. So.
Yeah, I think I'm packing flares in my bag. I think that's what I'm going to end up having to do because if I get stuck in one of those spots in the woods there right before you hit Zoo Trail and stuff like that, I'm going to be like, I'm just going to pop a flare. The ambulance will know where I'm at.
Come get you.
And, you should be okay. So that'll be...
that'd be awesome.
I've been thinking this through. But anyways, we'll end it there and we'll toss it over to our conversation with Mark McColgan. All right, everyone. We couldn't think of a better guest to have on the first episode of season 3 than the man who got us all into this trail running thing. One of our, the director of our title sponsor with St. John Trail Running. We're thrilled to have Mark McColgan with us. Man, thanks for being here with us, Mark. We love having you on the podcast.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, we miss having you guys in our ears, so it's good to be back, and it's kind of the sign of the start of the season right here is to get on with you guys. So let's do it.
That's right. Fantastic. It's been a long, dark winter. And so the only thing that's been really kind of keeping me going is seeing all the little posts that you've been putting about all the new stuff that's going on with our own little trail running group here in St. John, in the St. John area. And man, you have been busy during the off season. There has been a lot that you've announced. You're doing some really cool things. And so we wanted to just give you a few minutes just to talk about some of the new things that are going on this race season, and really big announcement about the Trail Series. And so we're super pumped about that. So what do you got coming down the pipe for us here, Mark?
Yeah. Thanks. There, as you said, there is lots going on. We finished the race season last year with Bootstrap, and we were pretty tired, and it was a nice finish, and we were like, okay, that was nice, but that lasted all of, I don't know, a month or so, and it just was itching to get back into it. So yeah, we're doing some new things this year. So I thought I'd kind of come on and see if I could kind of get that out to everybody. It's hard to get it out to everybody when there's so many posts and everything going on. So this is a great way to kind of showcase what we're doing this year. So yeah, I think the first thing I'd like everybody to know about our races this year is that we did invest in some chip timing equipment. So all of our races are going to be chip time now, and they're going to be chip time in-house. So we'll be able to do all that ourselves.
Nice.
Have control over it. So when results go out, we can start doing live timing and that sort of thing. So we're pretty excited about that. That'll be pretty cool. Most of our races we did have chip timing, but like Looney Loops, for instance, we had the ankle timing, which I didn't love. So this will be kind of cool to bring it in-house, and we can kind of manage it all there on site. And then, so that was kind of one of the things we're doing for our races. But the first thing coming up on our schedule is a film screening we're doing of the movie called The Chase. This is somebody that I've followed for a long time, the producer of the film, Jamil Khoury. Something like his influence is in a lot of our races. A lot of what we do comes from his influence. Like I used to watch him on YouTube all the time. Like awesome guy, awesome legend in the sport. So anyway, he has this idea to do a film about one of his races, actually, Cocodona 250. Last year, I guess 2024, they had 5 guys coming to it that were elite of the elite in this distance. Yeah. And so he recognized that, and he thought, this might be something good to follow. So he got a film crew, a guy put together, and they put this film out, and they're doing screenings all over, mainly Arizona area, but a few other places in the States. And we're actually the only Canadian screening, which is pretty
no way. Cool. That's cool.
Yeah. So Jamil also owns Aravaipa. I never know how to say it, which has like 56 races that he puts on. And I sent him a DM, and he responded within minutes. I was like, how's this guy? Like, he does all the live stream for all the races. He does all that stuff, right? So it was pretty cool to actually get that connection with him, somebody that I've kind of idolized over the years. But so that's on April 12th at Wasted Day. It's at 4 p.m., $15. Nice. There's 10 tickets left, I believe.
All right. I got to get mine. I got to get my ticket.
Yeah, hop on it. It'll be a pretty intimate crowd. We had to buy a license based on numbers, and so I went with 50. So we'll have about 50 people there. We might do a run earlier the day. I'm not sure, but then we'll meet up there at 4:00 and get going. It is a 2-hour film, so it'll be pretty cool. I've got it now. I haven't watched it yet, but I think I will preview it before. But there's a lot of good hype about it. Like, I've watched the trailer, and it looks pretty awesome. Gives you chills.
Watch it. I think that kind of stuff is really neat too, because it builds community within the trail running, community. But when you're not running, I mean, you're starting to see that more. You're starting to see like lecture series and people coming to share stories and that sort of thing. And it's just one of those kind of new avenues in, like, with trail running communities that you're starting to see them do that's beyond just the physical act of running, which I think is a kind of a cool evolution of what's going on with SJTR and just how it's growing. It's just a real good sign of growth.
Yeah, and it's interesting because when you run, you can only talk to maybe the person in front of you, the person behind you. You don't get to talk to everybody that's out there, right? So it's a great way to kind of mix and mingle with everybody else. And it's interesting, though. I find films, it's a tough sell with people in St. John. Like, we've done it a few times, and it's not something people gravitate towards, and I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's because there's so much content out there that it's easy just to consume it on your own in your free time. But yeah, I'd like to kind of build that scene, because we're doing a lot of that, within our races, right? We're doing all the films and stuff like that. So it would be cool to get more of this going. So this will be our first kick at the can of doing it. And, I think it'll be a good time just to get there and give it a try and see what happens.
Yeah, for sure.
But
what's next?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, just what's up next?
Yeah. So next, I guess, would be the intro group. So that starts May 1st. It's every Thursday at 6:30 p.m. It's 8 weeks plus 2 bonus weeks, which are on the course themselves. And when people sign up for this, you can actually sign up. You can find all this information on our website too, if people don't know. But when you do sign up for this, you actually sign up for a goal race, which is called the East Coast Beast Coast, which we'll talk a little bit about later. It's an 8-kilometer race, and they sign up for the course. They haven't run a race before, most of them. They might not even have trail shoes. They're just getting into it, and they sign up for a race the first day. Then we take them through 8 weeks, starting real small at the beginning, start with like 3K, and then progress each week. One thing we did last year that worked really well, because it's such a big group, is after the second week, we divided everybody, or after the third week, I think we divided everybody up into 3 separate groups. So there was one group that was more of a continuous group that went out. You'd stop every once in a while, but not too much. And if you did, it was very slow, very quick stop. And then we would also do a lot of active recovery. So we'd hike more than you would in the other groups, maybe. The second group was more of just the traditional intro group where you'd stop every once in a while, let everybody catch a breath, and then go. And then the final group were people that may not have been confident enough to jump into the faster groups. They'd have more frequent stops and would chill a little more during the run. Mm-hmm. So I think that last year that really worked well because people just put themselves in whatever group they wanted to, and maybe you'd progress the next week, right? Maybe you'd go up a group, you'd say, okay, that was too easy, maybe I'll try the next group. Mm-hmm. And you saw a lot of that, which was cool. What you also saw was interactions more with the guides. So the guides were able to get to know people in their group. They were more comfortable, like the participants were more comfortable talking to them and asking questions. So it worked out really well last year. So we'll do that again this year to kind of get everybody into it. And then the two cool things that we're doing with that, one of our new sponsors this year is New World Marketing. And they represent a bunch of brands, one being On Running and one being Topo, the Topo brand. So they actually are going to donate one pair of shoes for before the group starts. So anybody who's registered, I'm going to pull a name and they'll get a pair of shoes before the group starts. And then at the end of the program, I also take attendance each week. And at the end of the program, all the people that did all 8 of the 10, like I say 8 because that's the meat of the program. The other 2 are optional, but they do all 8 of the weeks. They get entered into a draw and they get a Topo prize pack, which is shoes, t-shirt, toque, and darn tough socks.
Sweet.
So, yeah, and actually, this is the first time anybody's heard about that. So,
hey, breaking news!
Breaking on the Chase the Trails.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so we're gonna do that, which is pretty cool. So we're pretty excited about that. We've got about, I think, 80 to 85 people registered.
Awesome.
And we can do 150. So, yeah.
Isn't that wild? That is wild.
You said your daughter might run too, eh?
Yeah. So Catherine and I are going to be doing it. So it's going to be it'll be Catherine's first step into the trail running world. And so she's been really keen to do it. And so we're excited that she's going to jump on that. That's awesome. Jeff, your family did it last year, right?
Well, they did the East Coast Beast Coast run. But living in Fredericton, we didn't do the intro group, but they ran, and we coached Speeding Cheetahs, and I kind of did an intro group with them up here in Fredericton through that, just running with them. But yeah, Heidi and her sister and her cousin and my 2 girls ran together, ran the East Coast Beast Coast, and they had an exceptional time. And they're excited to do a couple races this year, actually. So it stuck with them, and they're training right now for a 5K at the Fredericton Marathon, and then hopefully the East Coast Beast Coast again. So yeah, they're excited.
Very cool. Yeah,
that's so cool. Yeah, and we'll talk a bit about. There's one little change at the East Coast Beast Coast that we'll talk about later, but it's I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, but, that race is probably, Jeff and I both were there just to kind of watch his family do their thing, and it was so fun watching them finish cross the finish line. You're just seeing people who have just worked so hard, and the culmination of all their efforts was just so awesome to see them, finish their goals. It was like that's like one of my favorite memories from last year was seeing them all cross the finish line. So it's a pretty cool experience.
It's all about, man. With that race, it's it's all about that. Just you couldn't find more community in a race right there.
Yeah.
And somehow we do in all the other races. It's just like, it's awesome. Oh God, yeah. It's addictive. That's for sure.
That's right. It hits you right in the feels. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah. So I guess next up is the one I'm really excited about. And you mentioned it off the top there, is the Trail Series. This has been in the works. Well, I've wanted to do it since we got up to 4 or 5 races. I've really thought that this would be a cool way to kind of set us apart from, everybody else out there in this area, I guess. And just something also, again, to bring community together. So I started working on this pretty early. This started in December, and just out of a fluke, I had a guy reach out who's in engineering school. and he wanted to help out. He wanted to volunteer for St. John Trail Running. Okay, like, you're an engineer, you've got to be good at math, so let's get you on the points. So I got him on doing the spreadsheet, like how the points are all calculated, and the things I laid out for him were, I want to make this fair. So, like, the most fair we can make it, so that people, even mid-packers or people that do the more races, that they'll be rewarded for what they're doing. Nice. And that was one of the biggest things that we kind of went through at the beginning. And he developed this thing, like, there's formulas in this spreadsheet I have never seen before in my life. He just destroyed it. Awesome guy. And he's busy as all get out. Like, the guy is just going at each ends, and he was so good. He even got his brother involved on the spreadsheet because his brother had skills too. So anyway, they developed it. We got that going, and we put this little point system together. I also met with Daryl Steves. I'm sure you know Daryl, legend of the community.
He is a legend.
Just to get his thoughts on it and what he thought about it, and what, like, kind of some ideas that he would bring in it. So, and I'll talk about one of his ideas in a minute there. But he was great. He's I mean, the guy is just a wealth of knowledge. It's just so cool. So yeah, the thing about the trail series, so I guess the point distribution is kind of the first thing we'll talk about. So how that works is, right off the hop, each participant who completes the distance before the cutoff, really only one race right now, Rompin Rockwood, is the 50K, is really the only one we actually have a specific cutoff. We might start bringing them in later on, but for this year, I don't think. Like, this year right now, that's it. So really, like, there's no cutoff for most of our races, but we say that just because there is for one. So they'll be awarded points based on their finishing time relative to the first place finisher's time. So every second counts. If you're just behind that, so how it works is, first place gets 50 points, male, female. First place, 50 points right off the hop. From there, it's a percentage of their time. So if you were just behind them, you'll get 49.98. If you were, like, say, 10 minutes behind them, you might be in the 30s for points, right? So every second counts. It's the way they develop this spreadsheet is unbelievable.
That's cool.
So that's one thing. Then there's bonus points.
If you're like 3 hours behind them, you still get some points, right?
You'll still get points.
10% or something.
You can't get negative points, right?
The only position, which I don't love, but it just the way the formula has to work out, the only position that doesn't get any points is last.
So that makes sense.
I don't love it. I don't love it. However, they do still get points, and I'll explain those ones. So there are
There's still hope
points
for us yet, Brandon.
Yeah. You. So if you're in a sprint with last place, you know there's something on the line.
That could actually make it really awesome.
That is actually worth it.
So there's bonus points as well. So you get a kilometer, or you get a distance point per kilometer. So you do, and that's for the advertised kilometer. So if it's the 10K, you get 10 bonus points. You don't get 10.49 if your watch says that or whatever. You get whatever the race says. That's what you get. And same for Looney Loops. That's why Looney Loops is a good one to go in.
Oh man, wow!
You can really rack up the points in that one, right? So
shoot.
The thing with that point system that I really like is it encourages you to kind of step outside your comfort zone. So you might be in the 10K and you might be like, oh, maybe I'll go for the 25 because I'm going to get 25 bonus points, right? Yeah. So it's kind of a cool way to get people a little more motivated. Then the other bonus points, there's 2 more bonus points. One is if you do 4 of the 5 events, you get 75 points. If you do 5 of the 5, you get 150 bonus points. So it pays to be committed. Like it pays to join our races, and I love that. Because it's funny because I did to test the spreadsheet. I put in all the results from last year to see how it would play out.
Who won? Who won?
It was Cody Cooper, I think.
Oh yeah, of course, right.
Makes
yeah.
sense, but
yeah.
I can't remember now. I wish I brought that up because it's not all the people you would think, right? Like there's some people that did, like I think Mark Hemmings and Melissa Mott were the only two people that did all 5 races last year. Wow. So they were up in the standings. And the thing is also, and I'll talk about this next, is the breakdown of categories. So it's not just top 3 male, female. We have 3 categories. So there's under 20. There's the big category, which is 21 to 54, and then 55 and above. Now that's for year 1. I think I'll break up that middle category next year, but it's a top 3 for male and female in each of those categories. So there's 18 total winners, I think, at the end of the year. And so at the end of the year, we'll have a year-end like awards / party kind of thing. We'll bring everybody together and we'll do the awards at the party. And so the top 2, regardless of age, who win will get their name engraved on a trophy that we're having built, which is
nice.
It's a pretty cool trophy. Amber's brother's doing it. It's pretty gnarly.
Oh man, I can't wait. Yeah,
it'll be like the Stanley Cup where you'll have your name on it, and then everybody's name every year will be put on that. So that's the top 2, and then they'll also get a plaque that they can take home.
Very cool.
The trophy will be staying with us. We were going to give it out for the year, but we were like,
you never know.
Yeah, so we'll just keep it with us. But you'll get a plaque, and then the top 3 in each category will also get a plaque that they take home. A wooden, like we're doing up some wooden plaques.
Yeah.
And then it'll just say what you won or what your category was or whatever. And then River and Trail is involved as a title sponsor. So they're going to give prizing for all the winners as well.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it'll be pretty cool, I think.
Yeah. So that means Jeff and I are competing with the 20-year-olds. So that's
21.
That's right. All right, 21. So
21 and above.
So here's like next year's suggestion. Why don't you divide it by weight? Then you could have like the really skinny people are all in their own category. Then you've got like the Hefes are like kind of in their back end. Like that's their own category. I'm just throwing it out there, Mark. Just throwing it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Clydesdale category.
Yeah, I don't think
throwing it out there.
St. John Trail Running's existing much longer after that one. Once
leave the age groups, but just then have a special category for the hefty guys, you know?
Right. Just like there's the Special Olympics, there's like we can have like our own little category for the people who are. That's right. Yeah.
You don't have to judge people.
The Chasing Trails category.
That's right. Yeah. The Chasing Trails category. Anyway,
I was only going to do 2 races.
Sorry, go ahead.
So the last thing I'll talk about with the series is actually Daryl's idea, and he was saying, you know, I'm never going to compete with these people in some of these divisions, which he could in his category, definitely if he did all the races. But he said one of his ideas was you should reward people who consistently build up points. So basically you get to a certain level. So you get to say 1,000 points, and that's a milestone, and you get a little prize for that milestone. You get to 5,000, you get this milestone, right? So it's just kind of like what those cycling apps do, like Zwift and stuff, where you reach certain kilometers and you get a badge or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So I thought that was a pretty cool idea. So we called that the St. John Trail Running Legends.
Nice.
So we're not sure yet what those milestones will be, because I want to see kind of how the points play out every year. And, you know, not making it so it starts at 200 points and everybody gets it and stuff like that. Like it's got to be attainable over the years. It's got to be something that you feel proud about doing. And so we'll announce that after the first year, what that will be. But I thought that was a really cool idea that Daryl had. So that's basically it. So I guess one last thing is people don't need to register for it. Automatically, when they get into our race, they're into our series. If they do one race, they do one race. If they do all five, they do all five. They're in the points. So that was the other cool thing about the spreadsheet, is that it actually allows that. So I just load all the information in, and it spits out how many races you've done, your name, all that stuff. It's pretty cool.
That is amazing.
So yeah, we'll be able to do a lot of cool things with that. But yeah, no registration, no extra cost. You're just in it, and you're part of it, which is, I think, going to be fun. I think it's gonna take a little while for people to get used to it and understand what it is. But I think after this year, once we're like putting it out, what position people are in and all that stuff, it'll be really cool. And I think it'll get people hyped, which is awesome. I'm hyped about it anyway.
Yeah, but it gives it like a whole other level of like interest. You know what I mean? Like it brings a totally different dynamic to it. So guys, like Jeff and I, we can just start to, you get more invested because you do want to get that competitive edge. You want to get those kilometers built up. You want to, add that time. So it does make it a lot. It'll push you harder too. Like if you're going for that 50K, if you DNF, you won't get any points, will you?
No, you don't. Yeah, that's right. That's a good point. No. So you do have to finish. Yeah, you could be, like struggling at the end, and you just, it's something to go for. Yeah, for sure. It's pretty cool. And I mean, last year when I did that and put the results in, there was some out of like 900 and some participants in our races. There was like 400 and some that had only done one race, which I found really interesting. So it'll be cool, how that number kind of plays out over the years to see if it kind of gets people involved. So that's the kind of stuff I love looking at. So it was really interesting to see that. But
very cool.
So yeah, once you're in the series, there's 5 races. If people don't know who are listening, we do have 5 races in our series. It's all the 5 that we put on. It starts with Rompin Rockwood in May. That's on May 24th. You guys know it all too well. You're getting ready for it.
That's right.
We got a 10K, 25, and a 50K in that one. We've got it capped at 500 participants. I don't think we'll hit that. We're in the threes now. I think 330, 340, something like that. And it's usually crunch time near the end, but I'd be happy with 400 or so. We had 308 last year register, so it's a good one. And as you guys know, we have the barbecue there. Have a good barbecue at the end. This year, something cool we're doing is we got Eastern College coming in with their massage team, and we're gonna have massages at the finish line. So
that's gonna be really tempting on the 25K loop as you go through. The massage therapists are just waving. I'm like, that's it. I'm pulling the plug. Like, just go get a hot dog and some massages. That sounds great.
If it gets you back out there, why not? No, so that'd be cool. Just a few other just things that we just love to do. Amber's got some surprises that she's gonna inject into it as she does, which is awesome. But yeah, that's that one. And again, all this info is on our website if people want to check it out. Because I'll just rip through these. But
do you think that's the hardest one? Sorry to interrupt. Do you think that's the hardest one to start with out of all your races? Do you think like it's like starting off with the Super Bowl, right? It is that big race. I think it's the hardest.
Hardest as in like a new person starting? Something like
well,
that?
just the trail itself. I think that is probably the toughest course that you'll run. I mean, in this year, I think, in my opinion.
Well, in our races, for sure. It's deceivingly tough. Yeah. The 50K is one of the toughest around. Like, it's hard to compare it to something like Chignecto or the circuit. There's a lot of climbing in those ones, but this one's deceivingly got a lot of climbing, and it's so technical that it's hard to get going. So yeah, there, it's one of the more, you're right. It's one of the hardest ones, and it's definitely, I would say, the hardest one we put on.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, it's definitely the hardest one you guys do, right?
Yeah, I think Poli, like the 13K at Poli, obviously it's not 50K, but that's a tough race to do, but it's not technical. It's, but it's a lot of climbing. So yeah, I think you're probably right. It's the toughest one for sure. But yeah, and it's at the start of the season, which is bad and good. It keeps people motivated, hopefully, over the winter. But like you said, this winter has been nasty, and like it seems to be just holding its grip on us. So it's making for people's training. Like it's tough for them to get out. I know people that wanted to get out this weekend and do the course, and I'm not sure if they'll be able to do it or not. But
yeah.
We're at least lucky in St. John that stuff melts a lot quicker, but it's still it's pretty bad out there. But and then so yeah, after that we got East Coast, Beast Coast. That's going to be a week later than it normally is. So we're doing it on June 28th. And as mentioned earlier, that's part of the intro group. So that's their goal race. So it's one distance, 8 kilometers, nice, easy race for people. The only difference that I think we'll do this year is we're going to add a trail called Blueberry Hill Trail. It was just built at the end of last year, and it's phenomenal. It's becoming one of my favorite trails, and I haven't even done it in the summer yet. We did it in the winter snowshoeing, and it's amazing. It's considered a green trail, but all it's going to do is it just cuts out some of that zoo trail section. So we'll have more single track trail and less zoo trail. So it'll be pretty cool. So yeah, we'll add that. But that's really probably the only change in that. So the intro group is registering now. And then when that closes on May 1st, it'll open to whoever else wants to join. And it's it's very reasonably priced, that one. That's our cheapest race to do for sure. So it's a good entry race to get into for anybody.
For sure.
Yeah. So then we kind of go July, August with not too much, which is nice. Nice little break for us mid-season. And then we hop into Looney Loops. So September 13th.
Baby.
Probably my favorite race to put on. One of the most demanding for sure, but like just you can't beat it. You guys know it's just so awesome. So we upped the participants this year. We added 60 more bibs. Probably keep it at that. I don't think we'll ever go over that. I think that's kind of the sweet spot. I don't want too many people at this race. Like I think it's kind of cool to have like kind of the community that we had this year. Or last year. Or both years really. It was just so much fun. But yeah, so we got 200 runners. There's 10 spots left, so we're filling up. But but yeah, there's still some spots left. So if people want to get in on that, if people don't know, it's 6 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours on a 3.1 kilometer loop around Ashburn Lake. And 90 meters of gain each lap. So it picks up on you. And also, if you don't know, we had a guy do it last year, Cody Cooper, who finished 100 miles in 24 hours. So it can be done.
Can be done.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. That was such a what a inspiration that was.
That was awesome.
All the same kind of stuff that we did last year. So runner photos that we do at the beginning. We'll have the PR gong. We got the nighttime light show in the woods with all kinds of Amber surprises in there as well. We'll have some performers this year. I couldn't be more pumped. We got a steel band coming. So
nice.
And they're right. I don't know how many they're bringing, but they're like a 20-piece band.
Sick.
And they are phenomenal. We saw them in St. Andrews. Yeah. And they play all like, your pop songs, but on steel drums. And actually Tim Barry's mother, Jean Barry, plays with them. So she's going to be there. Tim won Looney Loops the first year. So she'll be there playing with them. So yeah, we'll have them, I think, during the day. We got to figure out the site a little bit to have them in, but that'll be pretty rad. We're really hoping for good weather for that. And then we'll have another performer. could be the same guy that we had last year. The guy that played acoustic and sang, he was awesome. I might reach out to there's a banjo player that I've been following. That's pretty cool.
Nice.
I think that'd be cool too. So we'll have all that stuff, and then Amber puts together that world-class aid station, like all the stuff you could imagine. Oh my, it was amazing last year. I just can't stop talking about it. It was so cool. But yeah, so that's Looney Loops. Like I said, 10 spots left, so grab one if you're not in. And then not too far after that, we've got about almost or less than a month, a few days under a month, Poli Peak Pursuit on October 11th. And that's up at Poli Mountain. And there's a 5K, 13K, and it's part of their Harvest Festival. So it's really cool, actually. Last year, unfortunately, it rained on us. People still had a blast, but it was just the hangout portion wasn't there, which I love at the end of races. It was just hard to get people to hang out when it's pouring rain. So what Poli does is they put on their Harvest Festival that weekend, and so they're running the chairlift. So you can go up and check out the fall foliage. So a ticket is actually included in your race entry. So when you come, your family can come. They can ride the chairlift and watch, and do whatever they want, that all happens all day. So even the racers, you can go and you can jump on the chairlift and do that. They also have like a craft fair show or set up inside. They've got the bar and the restaurant open and music going, and it's a great time there for that one. That race is a lot of fun. We had a blast last year, but really looking forward. It's the courses themselves, especially the 13K, is one of the most proud I've been putting a course together. I love it, and it's just because Poli's so like there's so many races or trails that are all kind of all over each other for biking. Like it's a really cool biking area. Yeah. And just to be able to build a trail that flows nicely and not having people get lost, like, is key. Like, I just am so happy about that one. I love it so much. All these races just have such unique pieces to them that I love them all for different reasons. So, yeah. But we haven't really talked about anything new, crazy yet. I had some ideas about doing something even shorter, like maybe a kilometer, which would start kind of at the lodge. You'd run down that first pitch and then run all the way up to the top and back. Something like that, I think would be cool. But we haven't gone. I work with that Colin Swift on that one. We'll discuss that and see what he thinks. And then from there, we got Bootstrap Boogie in November 1st. We had like 400 people register for that last year. It was crazy. Wild. It's so fun. I mean, you guys have been every year, I think. Yeah. So, yeah. And last year we had the 9K and the 17K. And the 9K was pretty popular. So that's pretty cool that people enjoyed it. Yeah, and it was just we had we had a course record set, I think, in the women's division on the 17 end. We had a lot of course records last year, actually. And I'll put that out there. If anybody sets course records at our races, they get a free entry the next year. So
fantastic,
something to know about when you're doing our races, just to keep you motivated. But that's I don't think we'll be doing much new. That race has kind of become dialed. I think we're gonna food trucks. We'd like to get better with food trucks and a later start this year. Last year was too early. We knew that. So we'll probably do a little later. Last year we were just trying to avoid the tides, or this year we're just trying to avoid the tides last year. Yeah. But yeah, it was a little too early. I think in November you want to be kind of a little bit more warmed up. Yeah, we'll see.
We did all right. It was pretty cold. I remember that, but it's hit and miss in that time of the year, right? Like we've done them when it's been like 11 degrees out and you can wear shorts to it. And then there's 2 years where you're just like your lips are blue by the time you get going. So it's that kind of, it's just hit and miss sometimes.
Yeah, the first year was had to be moved to December because of COVID. And,
yeah,
it was minus, I don't know, 14 with like minus 18 wind chill or something. Yeah, it was insane. No fun, but
yeah, I'm
we
glad
got
I
through
missed
it.
that one.
Yeah,
that's right.
it was the first race I had ever put on in my life, so there was a lot of challenges. That's the one we lost the beach to because the tide was so high.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
have never seen the
that's
tide
right.
that high. Lost
Oh
the
my
beach and
goodness.
lost some of the boardwalk. Like what?
Yeah.
Anyway, but
Wow.
yeah, we got through it, learned a lot, and we're better for it, I guess. But,
for sure. Yeah. It's a great summer coming up, and I think the series is going to be a huge hit, and I can't wait to hear all the stories coming out of it. It's going to be a fantastic season. So we appreciate all your hard work in it, Mark, and we can't wait to be a part of it. We get to be helping any way we can, and so we're thankful for all you're doing, man.
Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate that. And actually, now that you say help wherever that you can, I should say that people are always asking to volunteer. And I purposely don't put the volunteer sign up out until a little closer to the race, for the sole fact that people know their schedules a lot better then. So you get less people dropping out. We do put a lot of work into the volunteer communications and all that information. So just to have people consistently that I know are going to be there just makes it a lot easier for the materials that we send out for them. So if you are somebody who wants to volunteer, just keep an eye on our social media and everything. We do put it out. We put a sign up out every year. And if you do volunteer for our race, you get invited to the end of year volunteer party, which was a blast this year. We went all out, spent quite a bit of money on the volunteers, and we're happy to do it. They give us a lot, and we had a blast. There was 92 invited this year, I think, and 50 some showed up, which is
sweet,
awesome. Yeah, and so we might combine the volunteer party with the awards at the end of the year. I think that would be really cool to kind of do that together. Maybe even have a film, have you guys there hosting.
Yay!
Could have a whole event, and I think that would be really cool to kind of get it all together. Maybe have speakers and stuff like that. But
that'd be wicked.
You don't want it to go all night or anything, but it'd be nice to have kind of a combined party like that.
Yeah,
but yeah,
a big celebration.
Yeah,
that'd be fantastic
for all of us. Yep.
All right, Mark, thanks so much for taking the time to be with us for episode 1 of season 3. And we look forward to all that. We'll be talking about you a lot probably through the season as we go through all the races and stuff. So keep your ears open.
I love those episodes, boys. I love hearing your experiences in the races. It's so relatable. It's like everybody. You're not the only one suffered out there. Like everybody has a difficult time, and yeah, I don't care if you're first or last. Like first is suffering too.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe not if you're Cody Cooper, but
no, that's right.
People suffer.
Yeah, he's a different kind of beast. Mark, before you go, give a shout out to your sponsors for us.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Yeah. And I mean, you guys are one of them. You're on the list. We love partnering with you guys. I think it's great. You guys, like I said, you're super relatable. You're exactly what we're all about with St. John Trail Running. Yeah, we love having you. I do want to mention some others because they've been really consistent over the years. We do have a few that I might not mention today just because we work with them just sporadically, but the ones that have kind of been with us since day one, River and Trail, they're involved in most of our races. Holy is a unique one because it is in the Sussex area, so we try to work with Sussex organizations, but they help at most of our other races. Made with Local, every race they're involved in. Andrew's been awesome. You guys had him on the pod. He's an awesome guy. That company is amazing. Like they're one of the best follows I follow on social media. They're awesome and truly wholesome, sustainable, good product. So you'll have one of their bars in your swag bag for every race. New World Marketing, that's somebody I've kind of partnered with personally with product, but they're helping out with the intro group, and they might be involved with some prizing in other groups or some nutrition and stuff like that. So I want to give them a shout out. And like I said, they deal with On Running, Darn Tough, Topo, and a bunch of other brands. Someone new this year is Trailway Brewing.
All right.
Yeah, Loyalist City was great for us over the years, but Mark's, I think, kind of going to move on and kind of get out of and maybe do it more for himself, like he did kind of back in the day, and focus on being a doctor.
I guess fair enough.
Okay, yeah, I guess. So I approached Trailway Brewing, and they've jumped on board. And I mean, I don't know about you guys, but their beer is just delicious and consistent. And they have a non-alcoholic product, which is awesome.
Even better, yeah.
That's been pretty popular. Like I had that at the volunteer party, and people just drank it up. It was crazy. So yeah, those are kind of the consistent ones. A special shout out to Human Performance, because they've been consistent at Bootstrap specifically.
Yeah.
And they do chiropractic and physio over on the west side, but yeah, those are kind of the main guns and who we really appreciate and love having on board. They've helped out more than anything, and it allows us to have these races. And I guess one of the other biggest ones that I almost forgot is Fundy Coast Counseling and Therapy. They are our title sponsor for Looney Loops, and they have, I think, since day one, actually. Yeah, so they're awesome, and they
love those guys.
Both of them run our event. So thanks to Adam and Ann, they've been awesome. So yeah, that's it. And thanks, Jeff, for that. I almost forgot myself, so it's good.
That's all right.
Good, you're keeping us on track here.
Yeah, Jeff's always running it behind the scenes. He knows what's going on.
Do something,
That's right. All right, man. Thanks so much, Mark. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys.
All right, see you later. Jeff, I always love talking with Mark. It's always so fun. And it's also just really hearing his heart. You always just hear his heart just come through when he's talking about the different races and why he does it. And I think that's what I love the most. Like it's not really about accolades and all that kind of stuff, although the trail series is going to be cool. It's about like getting out and moving and being a part of a community. And that's, you can just hear that in his words every time he talks about it.
Absolutely. And he invests so much time and effort into the product.
Yeah.
Right?
No kidding.
His races already sell out pretty well. I mean, he mentions that he increased the limit to Looney Loops. I think we should take some credit for that because we've been bugging him for 2 years to increase the limit. So it's not a sellout yet. There's still 10 places left. So listen, 10 people who haven't registered for Looney Loops yet, get out there and get them so that Mark can still say it's a sellout. So we don't get blamed for making his race not a sellout. But I'm just joking, obviously. But he invests so much into the quality of the races and to make it feel like a big, well-run race in a small community. And he just, he doesn't get enough accolades for it. So he does such a good job. And so we're happy to have him on. It's been really cool to get to know him more. And you know what I enjoy? I enjoy when we hit the end of the record and then we talk for another 25 minutes.
Man.
Which we should be recording because people would love it. Some of it we might have to cut, but I just love sticking on afterwards with him. And with a lot of our guests, we do that. But it's just extra special with Mark because he takes an actual interest in how we're doing, but then it becomes just a great conversation. It's like I've known the guy for years and I've known him for 2, right? So
yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So it's cool.
And he's not just like that with us. Like he's like that with anybody.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. So out of all the new things that stood out, what were the big things that stood out to you?
Oh, I mean, the fact that he's set up this series to me is just awesome. I mean, I was honestly going to do Romp and Rockwood and Looney Loops, and those were going to be basically my 2 races for the year. And now, I mean, I'm open to do all 5 of them simply based on the fact that that's a cool thing. I've already got a conflict that I'm going to have to try to work out. The East Coast, Beast Coast is on the day we're supposed to be going to PEI for the week. But our check-in's not till 3, so I could go run the East Coast.
Oh, you can pull it off. Yeah,
you know, have a swim in the lake to get cleaned off, jump in the van, take the kids to PEI. That's my plan. Some of them might want to run it, so actually we could probably stop at Jim and Becky's in Quispamsis for a shower before we head to PEI. But maybe we'll see what we do there. But yeah, it's already in my mind to think okay, well, I was going to try to take it easy this year, so I didn't get to November and have a hip or groin pain or some issue. But my brain is already swirling around the fact that maybe I can get some extra points if I do all 5 races, and that'd be cool. Yeah. So.
Right. So, okay. So realistically, Jeff, I was thinking about this. So we're probably not going to win any of the thing. Right. We're not going to win anything. No. Because we're in with all the friggin' 21-year-olds who are just in the best shape of their lives.
That's okay.
And but here's the thing. If we are just consistent, we can get to that legends status,
right.
A little bit quicker maybe. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
I'd settle for that.
Finish last at something, right?
Right. Right.
I didn't finish last at something.
Right.
It's good.
And I think they should have given more points for finishing last, that longest suffering. Take your total amount of time and add that in points. So if you're 7 hours on the course or 9 hours to do 50K, you get 9 extra bonus points for being, fat and slow.
Sure.
Maybe that's what.
I don't know if that would, make for a race series, but yeah, it would be a series of something.
It definitely would not encourage you to be a better racer. That's for sure. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that's going to be really exciting. That's why he didn't
ask you to do the math, Braden.
I know. He should never have asked me. If you asked me to do that, I would have just automatically tilted it directly towards 42-year-olds who weigh over 250 pounds. That's where all the points would go towards those people. Yeah, that's right. You get 1,000,000 points if you're 42. Over 250 pounds.
You can
finish 10K.
For tying your own shoes.
That's right. Because of the effort to bend over and tie your shoes, you should get extra points for those things.
Right.
Bending over is my new pet peeve. Have I told you that lately? It's just the thing. If it's just the thing, it's the thing that I avoid now. I'm almost ready to go Skechers. The slip-on shoes.
If you show up at Rockwood in Skechers slip-ons, I won't be able to talk to you that day.
Oh man, I'm just Velcro. I'm ready to go Velcro if that's what it takes, because bending over is the worst. I can't breathe when I'm trying to bend over. My back hurts, my butt crack shows. It's just it goes downhill for everybody. Bending over is the worst.
Is not what someone would describe as someone who's going to run 50K.
I know.
In 8 weeks. 8 weeks from today.
Welcome to the paradox that is my life. That's how. And odds are I'm probably not going to run 50K.
You are. Don't talk like that.
Okay.
Don't talk like
All
that.
right. Yeah.
I'm
going to do it.
You're going to do it.
I've been pacing myself.
You don't get any points for the trail series if you don't finish.
That's right. I need to finish, don't I?
You do need to finish. Yeah. Yeah, and it's like Adam's been saying, you only need to keep a 17-minute per mile pace on the second half. So get through the first half, and we'll figure out the second half later.
Can you break that down into Canadian? What is 17 minutes a mile? What's that? 10 minute Ks?
That's a little faster than 3 miles an hour.
What is this? Your whole conversion of miles is just ridiculous these days.
I know, man. Actually, I got called out on it on Instagram the other day by Colin. Did you notice that?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. No, I tried to explain it, but I think I did a bad job. My Garmin just showed up that way, and
you just adjusted to it.
Well, originally when I got my Garmin, I was doing more weightlifting than I was running, because I was going to the gym, lifting weights, tracking that, and running on an elliptical. This was before you ever convinced me to go run anything outside, right? So I got my Garmin and I was tracking the weightlifting, and here I am wearing my Mitchell Hooper hoodie, and I haven't touched a barbell in 2 months. But anyway, I'm a poser tonight. But nonetheless, yeah. And so when you have your Garmin set up that way, if you want to use pounds for weightlift, you have to be in that system. So it's pounds and miles for your runs. If you switch it to be kilometers for your runs, well, you got to go kilograms for weightlifting. And I don't know how to convert that. I know it's a 45-pound plate. I know when I have 2 of them on, it's 135 pounds, including the bar, and I can do that math really fast in my head. But I can't do the other math. Kgs in my head. So it's just how my watch has been for the last 5 years. I think if I switched back now, I would just be so confused in life. So anyway, I'm sorry. I'm no help to you. You're going to have to Google 50K in, I don't know, 25K in 4.5 hours and find out what your kilometer per is. Yeah.
I think it's around 10.
Cutoff. 4.5 hours.
I think it's around 10 minutes. But anyway, it's whatever it is, we're going to get it done. Yeah. We're going to get it done, and we are looking forward to talking about that in the weeks to come. And we're going to be having lots of great guests, and we're going to be having lots of laughs like we have over the past 2 seasons. And so if you stuck with us this far, man, you're in for a ride for season 3. Right. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Especially if you're watching us on YouTube and you've looked at our
Oh my goodness, that's right.
Congratulations.
That's right. It's you. Yeah, you deserve an extra point in the Trail Series if you watch like an hour. Listen, I've got this whole scoring system. I can make it all new and improved if Mark would just let me get my hands on that algorithm. We could make this great.
I think he's going to lock down that spreadsheet.
He should. Yeah.
Look at it.
Yeah, that formula is not anywhere near my hands. But
no. I mean, we couldn't even properly debrief the conversation we had with him because we got off topic 3 times.
That's right. All the things. So in short, all the things Mark said were good. Bending over sucks, and Chasing Trails season 3 is ready to go. So in the meantime, everyone, keep on chasing the trails.
1